I'd never been to Maine before, but I was excited to come. I had planned to come to the Portland area for vacation, had never gotten around to it, but was recruited, and so I came here, loved the area, and it's been fantastic ever since. In fact, when I think about Martin's Point and the places I've worked in the past, I have to say that it has probably the best environment I've ever been in, and so I have really enjoyed that. I've also enjoyed the people who I work with. They're extremely nice, but that's been indicative of everyone in the area. The folks around town are just very, very kind and very nice. I'm Jeff Polk, and you can find your Maine job at liveandworkinmaine.com.
Meet the newest member of the MaineLife team. This, my friends, is Rico Stelvio, the Italian stallion I've been waiting for. He's quite the catch. Reliable, edgy, and perfectly proportioned with a strong core. He has a front engine all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic transmission with a carbon fiber drive shaft. He's an alpha. But then again, so am I. I think we're gonna get along just fine. I'm still like glued to my
I don't know if you wanted your reaction to the view and all that.
I've been here before.
Oh.
But yes, it's a beautiful. Wait, ready? Wow!
Oh my gosh!
It's so pretty.
Never been, I was never married here.
No, I've never been here. Oh, that is really pretty though.
It's Shawnee
You
Peak.
can, oh,
Yeah.
that's Shawnee?
That's Shawnee. So, and then remember the wedding? They lit up the lights. Shawnee Peak turned on all their lights for us on our
That's
wedding
so
night. Yeah.
nice.
An echo of an echo is the semblance of a sound. And I pressed and I've waited with my ear upon the ground. Oh, lover, I'll see you there, waiting in the willows with your autumn hair. Oh, lover, I'll see you there after many miles.
Hello. It's so windy out. I know. Good to see you. Good to see you.
What's the forecast gonna be?
It's cold and windy. Sunny.
Oh, it's
Wonderful.
good to be back.
Welcome to Nomads.
You can work out of here sometimes?
Oh yeah, because I can work remotely basically anywhere now. So there's Wi-Fi.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yes.
Do people still ask you about the weather?
That was the whole conversation here before you got here.
Can't escape. Do you miss it?
I miss the interaction with people. That's about it.
Because you had to drive from Norway.
Right. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning. So I got out of the house at 2 and then drove in from Norway.
So you're on the air.
Yeah.
We worked together for, I think, almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And what was it, I mean, at what time did you feel like you wanted to make that switch?
As I started to feel the effects of so many years on the morning shift.
What effects? Sleep deprivation, forgetfulness, delirium.
Yeah, you know, just to name a few, as
man.
so I know fondly remember.
It was fun. We did have a lot of
We
fun.
had a great time. There are so many wonderful moments, but the not so great moment was the alarm and just being tired. I started to think, and my husband and friends of ours, as you mentioned in your launch over a glass of wine, we came up with so many ideas of how we could take pinpoint mountain forecasting and bring it into other areas. Norway has just been this boom for me personally, but also professionally, really getting the business off the ground.
So you're going to take us for a little tour today.
Of course, we're starting here at Cafe Nomad. It's kind of the staple in town to go and have this sandwich, cup of coffee, meet your friends. Then we're going to head to the Roberts Farm Preserve, which is a wonderful place to either go and take a little walk by yourself with the pup or with the family. So it's a really nice little gem of Norway to be outdoors, and it's really only a miles from Main Street, so it's really close by. Then we'll finish at the brewery, which of course has become another staple on the Main Street, and the folks there, Magna and Erica, have just really blossomed the beer scene here in Norway and have become so known for it. they're a really great family and have really brought Norway on the map for beer. And we'll finish, of course, up at Granite Ridge, which has special meaning. That's where my husband and I were married, and you actually introduced me to the Fradiani family, so this is a very lovely little homecoming for us.
We roped Anthony in. He's a really good cook.
We will eat
Yeah,
well.
he's been to Italy many times, and we roped him in to cook for us. But
he loves it.
He loves it, yeah. And stay tuned to meet Jared, her hubby, and how they met. It's such a heartwarming story.
I always love to share it.
So I think my chili is behind Mark, so that's all for now.
So here we are at Robert's Farm Preserve, 165 acres in Norway, Maine. And we're known mostly for our wonderful Nordic trails, which are groomed daily. And one of the things I want to show you here is the collaboration we have with SAD 17, our school district. We own the facility, we run the facility, manage the volunteers. SAD 17 got a grant for equipment, and we have skis, boots, poles, and snowshoes for about 60 people at a time. And kids can come here free. So if you have a family like Kelly's family with 8 kids, then this is a this is a real benefit. You don't have to buy 8 pairs of skis for the little guys as they grow up. So. And in the summer, this is where we run trail runs, and people can walk their dogs here. There's 16 kilometers of grassed trails in the summertime. It's a great place then too. But it's really a great ski place. So what we're hoping now, we're trying to get a grant to get this, have a gravel parking lot by next winter time, so this doesn't happen every spring.
Yeah.
Expand the warming hut by 8 feet, full solar panels all the way across. What we're on is the Libby Trail. The next phase is to raise a few $1 million to build real buildings for the school. The school kids that are here are in portable classrooms and porta-johns year-round. And it's a magnificent program in terms of curriculum. I think we can all do better in terms of the buildings that they're in. So here we are at gorgeous Norway Lake, or Lake Pennsawassie. And it's a beautiful overlook to when we look down the reach of the lake, we see Noise Mountain on the right and Patch Mountain on the left. And in between them on this crystal clear day, Old Speck, which is a fabulous mountain to hike. We're trying to really focus on community conservation. So it's taking not only looking at land conservation in terms of preserving land for its values for wildlife, scenic beauty, environmental resources, but also working in protecting lands for the community, for the humans that are on it. We need safe places to be able to walk and run and ride bikes.
When your family comes to visit from the city, are they like, whoa, nature?
They really don't know what to do with themselves. We had so many people who came up for the wedding, and it was Columbus Day weekend, it was fall foliage peak, and amazing. We had 100 people that drove up from New Jersey, and I can't tell you how many were like, we don't have this. Where are we? You know, this is a gem. No one wanted to leave.
And you can work here.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, this is my life. This is, and the way it should be. And I always say, I live in vacation. Your vacation land is my home.
Right.
And it's
like
so
that.
amazing.
So if we come back in the summer, what can we expect?
You can expect runners out here. You can expect a lot of students. SAD 17's running their summer school out here. So you'll have kids doing all sorts of environmental things. They'll be gardening at the farmstead area. They'll be doing some runs and some walks.
Just in time to get thirsty for a beer
And head out to the microbrew. Well,
supporting others.
This winter we were a feeder system for Norway Brewing Company and Cafe Nomads, so it was a really good thing.
Great. Well, that's our next stop.
There you go.
I'm a proud sponsor of the Maine Women's Lobby. I'm Seth Rigoletti, leadership coach, and I want to thank the Maine Women's Lobby for their continuous leadership and empowerment of Maine women and girls.
I was one of the founders of the Maine Women's Lobby. Back in when we all went to, the delegation went to the National Women's Conference, people got energized, trying to figure out what we could do to make lives better for women in Maine. But I brought back the concept here, and one day when we got together after the conference to figure out what we might do, we got together in Janet Mills' apartment in Portland, and sitting around, we said, well, you know, we could do that here. When I first started working in the battered women's movement, I wanted to do that work, and I did it for 36 years until we made an end to violence against women in the home. I no longer believe that's possible in my lifetime, but I know that we're in a different place than we were when I started that work. And I think, you know, again, it moves slow, steady. Persistent people win in the end. May not win everything, but win some stuff in the end.
I was a chef before I was a brewer myself, and I worked at like the Harris Seacat Inn in Freeport and the Dogfish Bar and Grill. So I have a little bit of, you know, all of that as well, but I'm much happier in the brewery than the kitchen. So would you like?
What's on tap?
Would you like to taste some beer? Okay.
Yes, please.
So I know that Mallory wants to try the triple
I do
stack.
want to try triple stack.
And even though it is 9.7%, so it's
Yeah, I know.
it's
I
on
won't
the
eat
higher
much.
end of things. It's very light-bodied. It's 100% Maine grown grains and Maine malted.
Cheers to not
caramel.
waking up at 2 in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, cheers.
Entrepreneurship.
We like organic growth around here. I do have some tanks coming in, some bigger tanks, thanks to Norway Savings Bank. But I would say we are reaching just about the right amount of people that we should be right now, and there's always room for growth.
You know, you're one of a lot of breweries now in Maine. I mean, it's a booming scene. What do you think about it? How's it going? Is it
awesome.
good for the state? Is it
Oh,
competitive?
absolutely. And you know, the community of Maine brewers, I think, is probably the most important. You always have rivalries and obviously competition. This is a free market, but the collaboration, first of all, working with other breweries, making beers together, learning from people directly, but also the Maine Brewers Guild throwing events like Summer Session, which is huge, the Winter Session, both at Thompson's Point, and even the New England Brew Summit, which just happened last week, which is just really a way to, you know, go to a quality control seminar or go to a marketing seminar or brewery finance or insurance and really just beef up your knowledge of the back end workings and even the front end, you know, sales and how to train your servers. And there's a thriving network of businesses that I would say the brewers are not the only ones benefiting from Maine beer.
So are the patrons.
Right. Well, I would hope that people like our beer. We try to, you know, and I think that's another thing about having a tight market is that everybody has to be on their game. Everybody has to bring their best to the table and have very high standards. It keeps people honest, I think.
Well, it tastes good, my friend. And those are addicting.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
I could eat fried potatoes all day long.
And it changes.
I
and
think
every single one is good.
it's either za'atar or like gumbo spice.
Yeah, always good to be here.
Cozy. Oh, look
Hello,
who it
Anthony.
is. The man of the hour.
Our chef. Good, how are you?
Oh, wine is poured. And this is Mama. This is Mama Mickey, the mother or big sister of Anthony. So tell us about I'm gonna take full credit for this. So Mallory and her husband Jared, tell everybody where we are and how you guys met the Fradianis.
Wow. Well, we're actually where we met the Fradianis, right at this
Oh,
table,
yes.
over a glass of wine, just like Anthony just poured.
And I said, Erin, help me. I said, you have to check out Granite Ridge. And it was in our backyard, really unbeknownst to us.
And I was getting text messages from Mickey when you were engaged.
Yeah.
Hey, can you introduce us?
And lo and behold.
Because I knew you lived in town.
Yes.
So you both share the love of this area.
Absolutely. It's a great town. It's a town that roots for each other. It's a town that feeds each other on Main Street, hangs out together. It's almost like downtowns are common. It's our living room. and we hang out.
We experienced that today at the brewery in Cafe Nomad. And when Mallory and I were working together, I remember blow drying our hair at 2 in the morning. And you were telling, I was like, so what's new? And you're like, well, I'm having a date. A soup date. You want a soup date?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how you met, because I love that story. It's so heartwarming.
Well, it's a long story, but we're going to try and bring it in. But I did a lot of volunteering through the American Cancer Society at the Infusion Center, what was Maine Center for Cancer Medicine, now is New England Cancer Specialists. And on a late October day, a gentleman who was getting infusions, getting treatment, had called me over and had told the nurse that he had a weather question. And really, I went over and I said, okay, what's your question, sir? He said, I want to talk to you about my son. He's had a crush on you. He's been seeing you on television. He wants to reach out, but won't. And it was very cute and very endearing. And I said, just reach out to me on Facebook. And he essentially set up this soup date. So it took a while to eventually hear from him, but eventually Facebook linked us, and we eventually had that soup date on December 19th, 2013. And we were engaged a year to the day later in Central Park. I love that we came together tonight because it's all the puzzle pieces together from the first few days to where we're all at now.
Tell me about the wedding business. How's it going? How long?
It's been a joy. We have been our first wedding was in August of 2014, and here we are at 18. We're what they call a blank venue destination wedding venue. I'm saying venue twice, meaning that the families come together, they make a vacation out of it. The beauty of this is we have people that stay here, stay at houses around the lake, and really come and enjoy Norway for the entire weekend.
So what do you got cooking for us over here?
This is actually one that you've had, Erin, I think, and it's one that I love, and I've added a little twist to it to be part of my new food concept, the Truffle Truck.
Tell us about the Truffle Truck.
Penne alla vaga con prosciutto is the name of the dish, and the truck is my way of bringing truffles to Maine. And do you know what a truffle is, Erin, by the way? It's not the chocolate candy.
I actually do.
There you go.
Here's one staged right. No, truffles. Awesome.
Basically, it's a very sophisticated, like, mushroom with a PhD. This is how we add the finishing touch with the black summer truffle.
So the Truffle Truck, when's it making its big debut?
May 3rd is our first scheduled gig, so to speak, but we're going to roll it out the first 2 weeks around Norway and the Oxford Hills.
Do you cook for Mama a lot now that you're up here?
Yes, I can get it.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to toast to not waking up at 2 in the morning. I'd like to toast to your marriage here at Granite Ridge Estate and to the Truffle Truck and friendship and Maine and everything in between. Cheers. All that. Salud.
Hey guys, we are here at Maine Studios. Erin can't be with us, she's up in Norway. We are here for an unbelievable cause. I'm in my bean boots and my bow tie, and we're raising money at the Bean Boots and Bow Ties fundraiser for Teens to Trails. It's an unbelievable event. It's even a more important organization. Teens for Trails gets our youth outdoors, which is so impactful for their development. So companies like Flowfold and LL Bean and all of the other unbelievable Maine companies here today, from Maine Beer to a really cool s'mores cart, are all here to help raise awareness for getting young people outdoors, which I think is something that we can all get behind.
It's a true grassroots beginning, you know, no money, no experience, just a worry that kids weren't getting outside anymore. And the more people we talk to about this, the more we realize we weren't the only ones noticing. And this is really our one big fundraiser, which is all about just celebrating Teens to Trails and fundraising for what we do, which is trying to engage teens in the outdoors.
Started all volunteer, and probably for the first 7 years it was like that, you know, and gradually we've built up enough backing from different groups to be able to hire at least a part-time staff and have an office, and you know, we continue to kind of grow slowly.
For us it seems like yesterday, and I think that
It's brought together a really special group, a lot of folks that are here tonight. You look around the room at a board meeting and think, these people would never ever all be together in one place except for Teens to Trails. And we know the cool thing about Iron Clubs is you really just have to get kids outside. They're gonna love it.
Right.
But they've not done it, you know, so it's not part of their world. So we just want to open their world, let them discover on their own and take it from there.
300 last chance. Thank you guys. Give her a big round of applause. Bidder number 162.
I'm Craig Dilger. I'm the owner and brewer here at Foulmouthed Brewing. We are a brew pub in the Knightville neighborhood of South Portland, Maine, right at 15 Ocean Street, really like at the foot of the Casco Bay Bridge. We focus quite a bit on food that's really sourced locally and made from scratch. We have people coming in for some of the really creative sandwiches that our chef has been making. He's got a jalapeno popper grilled cheese that I think is coming back on the menu. So it's like a grilled cheese sandwich with the makings of a jalapeno popper on the inside. It's really delicious and lightly spicy, and just creative choices amassed from inspirations around cuisine globally.
Our friend Quincy Hensel was recently quoted in Bloomberg Business Week. I got a text from our mutual friend Anthony, who sent it to me, and a big time, right? So tell us about Bloomberg Business Week and what the article is about and exactly what you said.
Sure, yeah. So Bloomberg and actually a lot of national media outlets have been covering the low unemployment rate, and specifically in Portland. So Bloomberg's article, they were looking at Portland, Maine. We have the lowest unemployment rate I think we've experienced. I don't know if it's in the history, but as long as they have been recording the unemployment rate, we're at about...
As long as Dana has been...
That was me.
Just kidding. She said it. I didn't.
Yeah, but it's hovering around 1.7, 1.8.
It is. Portland's about 1.7%, and Bloomberg was interested on what that means for employers and what the impact has been and what employers are doing to try to work with that low unemployment rate.
Well, you got unemployment down, you've got the demographic issue that we all know so well that she just pointed out and made very personal to me. But you also have the whole issue of population flat, and it has been flat for some time, demographics being what they are, and knowing that we're competing with other places in the world. And most of us have, most states have a similar problem, aren't you?
Right. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, that this is not a Maine-centric problem. And it's really those employers, as Quincy was saying, that are taking and looking at it from a proactive viewpoint are the ones who are going to win here. It's much like if you're selling a product, it's what's my brand? And the employers that are saying, what is my employment brand? And really thinking about that thoughtfully are the ones who are going to be able to negate some of these kind of ongoing problems.
Your role in this economy has to be incredible, Dave.
It's very interesting in the recruiting world right now, whether it's through a firm such as ProSearch like ours, or whether it's a talent acquisition team within a company such as Wex or LL Bean or Dead River or whatnot. It's a hard task right now because it is competitive, and it just can't be, we can't pay Boston wages, or we can't play, X number of wages. What are we going to do? You have to look at all the factors and really shine a light on the positive, and that's what those who are going to win are going to be able to do. So it's the quality of life. It's the breweries in Maine. All of it adds up. It really does, and just you can't negate the realities, so to speak, but
you got to promote the positive too.
You got to promote the positive.
Yeah. Are we telling our story good enough? Getting that Maine brand out, just bringing it back to the Maine brand.
Yeah, sure. Sure. There are all the efforts. There's obviously the Live and Work in Maine, of which is a big sponsor of this show, is out there, and I think there are more and more efforts as to getting all of these competing entities, and I don't know if competing is the right word, but all these groups that are trying to do the same thing, and it's where do we all fit, and how do we work together and how do we take 20 things and bring it down and cull it down to 1 or 2 really big initiatives and make sure that it works for everybody.
So to wrap it up, what advice if an employer was watching and they were feeling kind of this stress?
Be thoughtful, be proactive, be flexible, and do the right thing.
Good advice.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that and all the good work you do.